So hi, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. I'm doing really great.
It's good to
I'm
see you.
It's so good to see you. We haven't seen each other in like 3 years, right? In person.
I think I saw you like a year ago. You were here for like a second, but
Okay, when I came back, that was 2 years ago.
oh, was it? Oh, where does the time go? Well, this whole year blew by, so that makes sense. Wow. Well, you look, amazing. And I know that you're visiting India right now. It's so funny that we're doing this through Zoom, even though like technically you're here instead of LA. But little background. So tell us, well, first of all, what's your name?
My name is Destiny Taylor. I am an Indiana native, originally from Gary, Indiana. That's where my roots are. I moved to Indianapolis quite young with my mother and my sisters, and I was raised here. And I also studied for my bachelor's and received my bachelor's from Ball State University.
Cool. Yeah. And so um, back in 2017 or 16, was it 16 or 17?
I believe 15.
Seriously?
Yeah, because I was working with you for quite a while.
That's true.
Yeah, my sophomore year, so that was 2015. That's when it started, and I guess I worked with you throughout the rest of my college experience.
Yeah. You kind of were one of the like OG fellows. We didn't call you that, but that's what you'd be called now. But yeah, you applied for the internship in 2015 and
I
you
actually cold emailed you because at the time, this was at the start when there weren't really any social media internships, or it wasn't really a known thing as a job. And
right.
I have been doing a lot of digital things with my blog, and I learned a lot from there. So I don't remember who introduced me to Pattern, but they were like, yeah, maybe you should email Polina. So I sent you an email, and the rest
The rest is
is
history.
history.
uh yeah, it's after this many years and my memory not being that great. I do remember one of the things I do remember is just like you pitching me ideas and me loving all of them, but also like being somewhat cynical because I get pitched ideas all the time. And I'm always like, well, sure, if you want to do that, like I'm totally down. Like Pattern is a platform and you're the right person to be capitalizing on it and showcasing your talents on it. But like, if you're willing to put in the work, by all means. And so I was like, go for it. And you actually like went ahead and did everything that you set out to do, which was so impressive to me.
Thank
Uh,
you.
and I think
It wasn't, what were you gonna say?
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say that it was, and I've told you this a few times, it definitely was what I needed so early on in my college career, and having the space for you to be like, hey, this is your platform. If you want to do it, make it happen. So to go through that process and to have that trust so early on, that's something that has always stuck with me. And I was very new to all of the games. So to have you as an OG trust me, no matter where I go, I'm like, if Polina trusted me then and I made it happen, I know I'm well equipped. I'm very experienced.
Oh,
I'm new to the game, so I can at least trust myself so I can acquire the trust of others.
you know what? I'm glad I could be there to help build your confidence, but girl, you had it going on. You really, I mean, even when you applied to be an intern, you already had a YouTube channel that had what, 30, 40, 50,000 followers, which was crazy.
Yeah, I think at the time it was a little lower, but it was growing exponentially during that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it still is. Are you still doing that? I know you
Yeah,
all about the beauty and the hair and all that good stuff.
yeah. I am learning more so as I, get older. By the way, I'm 3 years post-grad. I'm 25 years old. So I'm learning that life is all about, I know I'm getting old.
How are you 25? Oh my God, you'll always be like 19 in my head. Sorry.
Coming home and visiting my family, they're like, whoa, Destiny, you're a woman. But I am learning that life is all about transitions. And I feel that with my YouTube, it is something I still dibble and dabble with. If I do feel that there's some information that I really want to share, just having that platform that I've built to be able to share that is amazing. But as far as that being everything I'm throwing my energy into and posting 3 times a week, and it's not so much my main focus. I definitely feel that it's grown. It still is growing. I will never turn the channel down, because even old videos that I made when I started working with you are still getting thousands of views every week.
Right.
So it's something that I'll always have, but it's definitely time for me to transition from that platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny that you excuse me, mentioned that, because a couple of those videos that you made for Pattern, like, were viral. We still get comments on that "I'm a hairy woman"
Yeah.
video.
Yeah, I do feel like too, some of the concepts we did on the YouTube channel, they were very forward thinking. I think so now, today, in today's day, to have that woman's empowerment about accepting hair, it would be a normal thing. But in 2015,
right,
it wasn't really a trend.
Amazing. See, you're way ahead of your time. You were then, you still are.
Yeah.
So, okay. You decided to move to LA, and you worked your ass off, and you've done a lot of things since you moved there, and you moved there in 2017.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk about some of those experiences. Like, what was it like when you just got there? Talk about that. Like, how did you get your foot in the door? What did that look like for somebody who wants to, like, jump off to LA from Indy? What's the best advice?
First off, I say just do it. I just, on a more practical standpoint, you will get, if you're a young person, you're not making that much money, you don't have a lot of support, you will get a lot of support from the government. So you can get free health insurance, you can get food stamps, you can get cash aid, things that will help you get on your feet. Not a lot of people know of those programs. So if you're thinking about moving to LA, I highly suggest just researching the resources that are out there, and which resources you can qualify for. So that's one thing.
That's huge. I had no idea.
Oh yeah, you can get a lot of assistance. I actually had free health insurance. So I have been temping, working contract work. I wouldn't say temp. I've been working contracts that have been about 4 to 8 months since I moved out there. And I had my free health insurance legally. And the only reason I didn't keep my free health insurance is because when I was hired by CBS, I have a benefits package, but even still, with my income jumping significantly, I was still eligible for that free health insurance. So yeah, that's that. When I moved, I really wanted to move to California. It was just a place that I would, of course, see on TV, and just the nature aspect of it all, and the big city aspect, and just hearing of all of the opportunities and how transformative it has been for people. I just really wanted to go out there, and it was between New York and California, and I did an internship in New York my sophomore year as well, junior year during the summer. And New York was amazing. It definitely helped me build a lot of heart. and figure out how to navigate different awkward situations, because I had some very awkward things happen there. But it just didn't really feel right for the place for me. So I just packed up and I went to LA, and I wasn't going to be able to move unless I had some sort of job. So I had gotten a paid internship with Guess Jeans. I wasn't making too much money, but it was nice. And I am very fortunate. I have the privilege to have a grandmother who is highly successful. She's like my inspiration, a very forward-thinking, Black, strong female woman, executive, everything. So, and she's definitely the type, you know, I will invest in you. I will help you if I see that you're passionate and you're putting in the work. And I had been putting in the work since high school. So she had helped me move down there. So I did have that privilege. So that gave me an easier time to transition there.
Sure.
And, you know, I feel like I don't want to say that moving to a big city just in general, that can be difficult. I think just you moving out of your parents' home and you stepping into a space where you're becoming an adult and you're starting to actualize yourself, that is a difficult journey. Difficult emotionally, mentally, and even physically for anyone. And I'm not going to lie about that. And that's something that I had realized, and I thought that I was the only one going through it. But then when I had started to make friends and we would share stories and experiences, I realized like, oh, this is just the normal thing. So I do want to say that whether you're trying to move to California, you want to stay here, you move out of your parents' house, whatever you want to do, you're going to have difficulties in all realms of your being. And once I completed my internship with Guess, I had tapped into a connection that I had made while I was interning in New York with Crown Magazine. A man named Jonathan, he was one of the founders of Blavity Inc., which is a platform that serves Black millennials, Black news, and Black art, just Black culture in general.
Yeah.
So I connected with him and he had helped me get a job there, my first real person job. And I was a campaigns coordinator there, and I was social media focused. So it was really nice. It sort of worked as an agency. They had multiple brands, and we would do sponsorships with different companies like McDonald's, the Gates Foundation, Cantu Beauty. And I was just handling communication. Funny thing is, apologies, I'm getting the email. Funny thing is, a lesson that I learned there that I do want to share, I was actually, So when I moved to LA, I moved alone. I was just in a very emotional time. I missed my mom. I remember I went in the interview, and a woman named Lisa, who would later become my boss and a mentor to me, she had asked me these tough personal questions, and I cried in the interview.
Oh no. Wow. Okay. All right.
She asked about my family. I cried in the interview. I highly recommend do not cry in your interview. After that interview, I think they were like, we need to stay away from this girl. Like, she's not equipped for this world.
Right? She's not stable.
No, but good thing I had good rapport with Jonathan, and I actually followed up, and then they sent me a sample, a test to see.
Yeah.
I had the skills, and I blew that out of the water. They were like, okay, besides the emotions, we understand she's young, she's really talented and raw. So it definitely, for anyone who's transitioning and, starting their career and making career transitions, like, it's all about the skill and how you present the work. It was
so hang on. Back up a little bit. Tell me about the test. Like, be specific. What is it that they wanted you to do, and how did you blow it out of the water?
Yeah. So the test, it was a while ago. So they needed me to, okay, so they gave me the event of March Madness, which I think they were like, this girl, I can tell she knows nothing about sports. Because at the time I was big hair,
Yeah, beauty.
face.
Yeah.
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 So I was assigned with a task for March Madness, and there was a scenario as if we were partnering with a company, and how would I present a live tweet or do a live tweet campaign with them. And then it was that piece, and there was another piece, I believe it was an email. I can't remember the second piece, but I do remember the first piece. And basically what I did is I came up with what the hashtag would be. I crafted 3 tweets. I wrote the copy, but instead of just sending it in a document, I used my Photoshop skills, and I took screenshots of, what a tweet would look like, or, a thread tweet. I put it in Photoshop, and I put my copy in, and I put the GIF and all that in there so they could actually see how it would look.
Yep.
And it was really clever, the theme that I came up with. And I think what they really appreciated too was my writing. I was really witty and fun. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the idea of taking it to the next level, right? Because you could have even, your witty tweet would have been fine, but the fact that you were also able to show that you know how to use Photoshop and you wanted to go that extra level,
Mm-hmm.
definitely is a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Prospective employers always want an employee who's going to go the extra mile, for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
so you got in, they hired you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so then there were a few other things that you've done, but now you are at CBS.
Yeah.
And working on you're doing social media, and I know that there's various different sides to that.
Yeah.
And you can talk more about that, but you are in charge of doing social media for shows like Big Brother and
Survivor, The Amazing Race, Price is Right. Yeah.
well, that's awesome.
It's really different because from Blavity, I was deep into beauty, and then I was tired of the beauty industry. To be quite honest, I needed a break, and I wanted to try something different.
Sure.
And I worked with this agency. It's a great agency. I highly recommend it to anyone. They're called 24/7, the number 24, and then you write out 7, and they have helped me get some amazing contracts with like OPI, Morphe Cosmetics, and they also helped me get this, what my job at CBS actually started as a contract role. So they helped me get this as well. And I didn't even think that I would get it for some reason, because I had never done anything like this. But yeah, I applied. I did the same thing, sort of went above and beyond as well. And I got the job. And yeah, it's really fun. Social media is, as you explained, it's a broad world. So when I was in beauty, it was more so content creation, working with influencers, shooting custom content, working events. It was very, very hands-on. But I wasn't so involved with strategy. It wasn't too strategic. That was always handled top level. So now to be at CBS, and it's more structured. I don't work with the influencers. The influencers would be the talent on the show. So that is shifted through the PR team. So I don't do that. Events are also shifted to the PR team, and I can attend some of the events, but I'm not working them. But this role at CBS is more so strategic. So it's figuring out, okay, how can we engage the people who watch the show on our platforms? How can we deliver them new information? How can we get them thinking about this show every day of the week, even though it comes on or Big Brother comes on 3 times a week. So they always thinking about that one. But the other shows, it's okay, it comes on Wednesday, but we want them to be thinking about this show every single day, so much so that they will go and they will get a CBS All Access subscription, and they'll watch past seasons.
Nice. Okay. That sounds like a big job. Are you stressed? Is this stressful?
Um, it's not stressful for me now because I've been doing it for a while. And I would honestly say I was more so stressed when I was working at startups and at the makeup companies because, you know, CVS is such a big brand.
Right.
So the teams are very flushed out and everyone has a job and it's a well, pardon, it's a well-oiled machine.
Right.
So I don't have to do everything anymore, which is what I
Right.
was doing previously.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that concept.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, um, is this true though? If you are at a startup and you're wearing multiple hats, do you have like more leeway to be creative? Like, is your creativity limited in some ways because CBS, like you said, it's a well-oiled machine and you only have like this chunk of it as opposed to like,
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And that's a definitely an interesting transition and something that I had to adjust to now that I'm here. You know, when you're at a startup, they want people to wear multiple hats because they don't have the most funds, so they want to hire people who can help them in multiple avenues. And that can also be the downfall of working a startup because, you know, the employees usually feel like they're running to the ground. But I do miss the fast pacedness, me being able to be in a space that you allowed me to have, like, hey, I think this will be great. I want to do this, you know, here's some numbers. This is what I'm projecting. Okay, go for it. Let's do it. Versus at CBS, you can't do that.
right,
You
right,
can't do that at all. But I can say it was difficult when I did transition, and me being a very creative, highly strategic person. And for anyone who's like that, you may be thinking about my job at CBS and how things have transitioned, and you may be like, oh, like that's not something that I could do. But when you do go into a new space that's a company that has been around for decades and has been scaling and has a well-oiled machine, yes, you're not able to tap into that creative space as much, but you do have other opportunities to learn and grow that you usually wouldn't get at a startup.
sure.
So, you know, you're working with people who have been in the game for a very long time and you're exposed to different teams. So that's good as far as being able to understand how different parts of the industry work. And also working in a corporate environment such as this, you really learn the vernacular, how to present yourself, how to, especially for me as a Black woman, how can I show up as my authentic self, but still at the same time be able to mix and mingle at a high level so that a white man or a white woman or someone who is an executive can see me not only as who I am, you know, personally, but also who I am as a professional and respect me in
Sure.
both regards.
Yeah, I think that's huge figuring that out. Do you have mentorship at CBS?
Yeah, so we have a mentoring program.
Okay.
It just relaunched, I believe, late last week. So I'm home. I'm going to fly back to LA. Then I'm going to take a 2-week vacation in Jamaica, and then when I get back, I'm going to tap into that to see who I can connect with and what I can learn from them.
That's awesome. Also Jamaica, amazing.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, I would be too. So, okay, I mean, I'm so excited for you and so proud of everything that you've accomplished in such a short amount of time. I mean, I know we're like, oh, 2015, my God, it's been 5 years, but really, in the grand scheme of things, that's a relatively short period of time.
Yeah,
And
it seems like I
yeah,
was just in college yesterday.
yeah, don't get me started on that. So, um, it sounds like being connected with this 24/7 company was a really good thing for your career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it a situation where they would get you contracts and then the companies that you contracted with would provide feedback about your performance?
Mm-hmm.
And then 24/7 was like, you know, she's a really, really good person for us to place because she does a great job and we want like good feedback. Is it something like that?
Yeah. It's I think it's like that for any type of professional exchange. When because it technically is a recommendation.
Right.
But yeah, they're an agency where they want people who are talented, who have a good rapport, who have robust, skill set, because they do get some very high level clients.
And how did you get connected with them?
How did I? I believe I was on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I applied for a beauty job. I applied for some job, and through that application, my information was in the system. I didn't end up getting called back for that job, but after I left the first makeup company that I worked for, which it was a horrible experience.
Oh no.
It was very bad, toxic as hell. But after I left that company, it was very abrupt, 24/7. It was like a gift of God. They called me a few weeks later and they were like, "Hey, can you start work at OPI tomorrow?"
And you're like, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's just a matter of like putting yourself out there. Basically, you gotta apply for a bunch of things, and you may not hear back right away, but you shouldn't get discouraged because you never know. They might be reaching out a few weeks or months later with a really good gig.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, the job searching process is always one that's very tedious and very long. But if you can connect with an agency, that was really great, because especially for me, I have a very unique path, and I have a diverse skill set, and I have knowledge in my field of digital marketing, social media, that someone my age usually wouldn't have. And that's only because I've been able to work with these different highly successful companies that are scaling at a fast rate, and they're so different, and I've been able to step in and see how they're doing, what's working, what's not working, and applying that to the different roles that I go to. So it gives me like a unique perspective and an edge. Absolutely. That the normal person may not have.
Sure. So it sounds like it's actually a really good way to build a resume is to work with an agency like that and work with different clients, as opposed to immediately locking yourself into one company.
Oh yeah, for sure. People always, my generation, we get a bad rap because you look at our resumes, and if we really wanted to, our resumes these days could be two pages. Right. Which my resume, it could be two pages, even though I've been working professionally for 3 years. And I think that generations before us, it was a culture, the normal to get a job, work there for a certain amount of years, and either you go somewhere else or you work your way up. But for my generation, there are so many opportunities. I don't know how the job market is going to change with the new election and COVID, especially next year. But up until this point, there has been a lot of opportunities, a lot of new jobs, especially digitally. And a lot of us are highly qualified in the sense that we are forward thinkers. We're usually self-motivated, and we have, grown up with these digital platforms. So we do know a lot about them. So, if you do have the opportunity, I definitely believe in loyalty, and I believe in staying somewhere until you feel like you've learned all that you can learn. But once you feel like you're at a standstill, you're ready for a promotion, you're ready for something new, listen to that gut feeling, have no fear, and shoot for the better opportunity for you. And better opportunity it's not always equivalent to a higher pay. So, just the substance of that role, is that better for you and your overall growth?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really great point, that a good opportunity for somebody is not about the money sometimes. Sometimes you have to financially make a lateral move in
Mhm.
order to then go up, as opposed to constantly looking for just getting a raise because that might not be the best opportunity professionally for you.
Oh yeah, never, especially if you're going to go to a big city. Don't just chase the numbers. Don't just chase all of the fancy perks that they'll give you, um, because really find out what's the culture like. What are the growth opportunities? Do I have the possibility, and now this is the best time to ask this, do I have the possibility to sort of craft my own work schedule and work environment? Am I able to work from home? Are there different offices that I can go to? And things like that. I more so find that those are more important than the money.
Absolutely. So you'd mentioned a company that you'd worked for earlier on that had a toxic environment.
Yes.
How would you, because I feel like sometimes as a young person, when you come into a company and you're like the lowest person on the totem pole, um, there's maybe some prevailing idea that like you should just take it, right? Like, because you're young and you have to pay your dues, so to speak. And how do you delineate the paying your dues like legitimately because you are young and you're still learning and growing, to being in a situation where it is toxic and it has nothing to do with paying your dues?
Mm-hmm.
It's just bad and you should leave. What kind of advice, like what are the things that somebody should know how to draw that line
Mm-hmm.
to take care of themselves?
Yeah, first I want to say that I am paying my dues right now in my role at CBS. And the way that looks is me accepting that I don't have as much creative freedom. And there is being very strategic, because I'm also still very bold. I'm still very vocal, and even the producer that I work with, she has given me kudos a few times. Like, I really respect and I really like that you are not afraid to pitch your ideas, and when you really believe in them, pitch them a second time and maybe even a third time at their space. And she's like, that's a really great skill to start developing at this young age, because you're going to need it when you get older. So I'm paying my dues right now. It's a
Yep.
lot. I do have to remind myself that I need to, if I get too heated, I'm like, girl, humble yourself, bring that ego down. You're not there yet. I literally tell myself, like, I need to humble my ego right now because I'm feeling myself a little bit too much. So yeah, I just want to say that. But this situation at this place, and it was prolonged because I did feel that I needed to stay there. How do I explain this? And this is kind of difficult for me to tap into because it wasn't good at all. But any advice that I have for someone is, if you are going home and if you can't compartmentalize what's happening at work, and when you step out, of the office front door, if you can't, if the feeling that you have doesn't go away by the time you get to your front door and step in, that's a red flag. If you go to bed and you're dreading having to go to work tomorrow because you will have to be next to someone,
Mm-hmm.
that is a red flag. When you feel, and I also too want to say that it doesn't matter if it's work or if it's personal life. I am always very vocal and I have conversations about what's going on, because if I'm going to be working with someone for most of my time, I want to be on the same page with them. I want to know how they're feeling, and I want them to understand how I'm feeling. Just try to have those conversations, so at least you know that stuff is documented if anything ever has to go down. But just to make sure that you're clear and they're clear. And then also at the end of the day, just try your best not to take it personally, and know that whatever is going on in the work environment, first assess, make sure it has nothing to do with how you're presenting yourself or communication you're having, but that's why it's important to have open communication with people. But once you realize that it's beyond you, just try not to take it personally. Just step back and then start to look and move on, and just know that if you're a good person, I'm a strong person. I'm strong in my belief that if you have a good heart, if you move forward with light and you treat people kindly, God's got you, the universe has got you, no matter what. So don't be fearful of money.
Right.
To, stay in a position.
That is amazing advice. Really, really great. Last question for you. What's next? Where do you see yourself now that you've done beauty industry and now you're in the entertainment industry? Are you getting burnt out on entertainment? What are your aspirations? I want to get it on record here so that when I talk to you in another 5 years and you'll be running your own studio or something, we'll be like, heard it here first.
So first off, there's so much. I'm a person who does a lot of things. There are so many things we haven't tapped into that I've done. I had a very successful modeling career in 2018, 2019, and I got to do a lot of beauty campaigns and things like that. And
that's right, you did. Oh my God. My God, woman, 3 years and you've done more than most people do in 20. That's crazy.
Thank you. I just, it started off from my blog. It really did. And the campaigns that I did, they were all cool. All of them weren't paid, but that's partly why I took a step back. But I do think that I'm ready to step back into that. I've been, a few agencies have reached out to me, and I've gotten a few inquiries about different gigs, and I turned them down because I just wasn't in the mindset. So I may pick that back up.
Okay.
Yeah, so I may pick that back up. I also didn't mention that I'm a certified yoga instructor for Yoga Sculpt, and I'm very big into wellness and spirituality and fitness. So I will be, unfortunately, I was only able to teach one class because COVID happened, but that's a journey that I'm really looking forward to continuing with. Yoga instructing. I may even pick up Pilates too.
Nice.
Yeah, I am also, so this isn't something that I plan on monetizing or starting a business, but I'm a tarot reader. So as far as my spiritual practice, and I do have people who know that I read tarot, and they come and they ask and they book me. It's not something that I put out there because I just don't want to capitalize on a spiritual practice. Polina's like, what? So I do plan to deepen that. I'm not sure if that's something that people will know me for, but I'm looking forward to continuing that journey.
Sure.
And within the next 3 years, I was telling you yesterday, and I'm saying this to everyone because I want to hold myself accountable. I will be within the next I'd say 3.5 max. I will be traveling the world, and whatever my working situation is what it will be. But if I told you yesterday, if I have a job that can't come travel with me, then I'm going to quit that job, and I'm going to figure out financially how that's going to go, but I'm planning that.
Okay. So you wanting to be a digital nomad?
I don't like to put labels on anything, but I can say I took my solo trip to Bali this year, and it was just phenomenal. And I'm very interested in getting to know the world and how the world operates, and understanding different cultures. And I do plan to spend quite a bit of time in Africa as well, because I would like to get closer to my lineage. But what am I going to do as far as what's going to be the thing that Destiny's doing that's bringing the bread? I will be rich as hell. Can I say hell on here? Yeah. I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart. I don't know anyone who's in astrology. I'm a Pisces with a lot of Capricorn in my chart, so I love money.
Okay.
So I will have a lot of money. I do know that.
Good.
I wouldn't say a lot of things because I don't like to, I'm sort of a minimalist in that sense, but a lot of money, nice investments. I don't know where the economy is going to go, but I want to have some nice investments and things like that. But, you know, it's come to the point where I don't feel pressured anymore to define my journey to anyone. Because if you would have told me that this is where I would be today and this is how I would be living and how my finances would be looking, I couldn't have mapped this out, you know? So I'm accepting that space that I am definitely a person. If I feel like I need to do something in my heart, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to gun for it fully. And God is going to place the opportunities in my life that are meant for me. And I'm going to know that and I'm going to take advantage of those. But what will I be doing? I'm not sure. I know I'll be happy. That's my ultimate goal. I want to be happy. I want to put my energy into something that I feel that is contributing to the world and to other people. And I want to have a lot of money and have a family.
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. You're amazing. That's so cool.
You're amazing.
Well, thank you. God, I'm so excited to get this posted because I think people will get so much out of listening to your story. You've got so many incredible experiences and all that in 3 years. I can't even, my mind just sort of is blown thinking about, you know, where your story is going to end up. I love how open you are to the universe, right? And where it takes you. I think that's exactly right. I mean, I can attest to the fact that all the things that I'm doing now, I never could have ever in a million years envisioned or imagined. And yet it's been, you know, wonderful. If not highly profitable. I kind of missed the boat on that one.
The money.
You need to send me some of that money, Juju. Come on.
Money.
Thank you. I'll take it. Okay. Well, thank you. It's great to see you.
Great to see you. Can I give one word of advice? Okay, one more word of advice.
Absolutely.
And this is I'm just going to go for it. It may be very tree hugger like, as some would say, but the energy is definitely shifting in the way that the world is working and energetically how it's affecting our life. So I strongly believe we are coming out of a phase of where you put something out there, you can go get it and you can achieve it. Like for some reason, just goals and being able to say you want to do something and craft out your life and see it and do it, it has been so easy. I strongly feel that things are shifting and now we're going to be called to, I wouldn't say go with the flow, you know, still go for the things that you want, keep improving on yourself with your career and with everything else that you want. But it's definitely a time that I believe that, you know, especially people in my generation, that we should get used to, if you're not spiritual or if you know, you're not religious or anything like that, but I want to say just say God will have me. He will guide me throughout this journey. I am meant to be here at this present point in time, and whatever is meant for me will be. So please don't get so hung up on, I want to do this, I want it to work out this way, and if it doesn't work out that way, don't get down. Just understand that that's a part of your journey and be open to what life has for you. Don't fixate too much on anything and just accept where you are in this present point in time and just look forward to moving forward every single day.
That makes perfect sense. I think that's a life of faith, right? It's just believing that God's going to take care of you, that he has you know, he's got your best interests at heart. And that might not look the way that you want it to, but ultimately, if you open yourself up to that, your life is going to be, you know, you're going to live your best life that way.
Yeah.
I'm totally into that. I love that.
Yay.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I hope to see you and talk to you on the regular and keep up with what's going on. You know, I obviously stalk you on social media, so there's that. But
We have like monthly Zoom calls.
yeah, we should like start our own talk show.
Can I bring wine?
Oh yeah, of course. Can I bring vodka?
Yeah.
Done. Done. I love it. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you.